Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Nat, and I'm here in New Hampshire at my grandparents' house. And today, I'm going to go out looking for salamanders, specifically eastern redback salamanders, because they're the most common species to find around here. And, well, they're really fun. So let's go see if we can find one. So the best way to look for salamanders is just lift over, like, pieces of bark or logs or rocks. And they're usually going to be underneath, hiding out. There's a lot of worms in here, but there's no salamanders. Usually you're going to find them more under logs than under rocks, because rocks are usually more heavy and more deep into the ground, and the salamanders don't want to be too deep. So let's go over here. I reckon there's quite a few logs over here that we can flip over and see if we can find them. So look at all these logs over here. There's like prime salamander looking. So yeah, this is all like a prime salamander spot. There's a bunch of worms in here. But it might take me a few tries. Sometimes it'll take at least 5, maybe even 10 minutes before you can catch one. Honestly, around here I usually catch them really quickly, but I guess it might take a bit longer today. My salamander search went on for so much longer than usual. Usually it only takes me like 2 or 3 minutes to find one, but this time it took like 10 to 15 minutes, and I literally looked all around the forest, but there was one more place that I thought might have one. Okay, so we've literally looked like all over the forest. We've flipped over a ton of rocks and logs. We've not found anything, but there's one more like really big rock over here that I think might have a salamander under it, because the past times I've been here I've caught them before. So let me just see. There might be one. I don't know if there is. Here it is. There he is. Oh my gosh, there really is a salamander in here. There he is. Look at him. Oh, it's a salamander. Okay. Actually, this is perfect because it's kind of like a platform. Well, actually, that's not a good idea. Okay. Well, we are going to, I'm going to talk about the salamander. This is an eastern redback salamander, and they are in the lungless salamander family. They breathe through their skin. They're amphibians. They have permeable skin. And these guys, they only get to about 4 inches. They're really small. Oh, look at that. Did you see that? He jumps. Sometimes he can actually jump from hand to hand.
They're really small.
They are actually extremely small. But these guys, basically, they just eat like worms, insects, any invertebrates that are smaller than them is fair game for them to eat. And they literally live like all over the eastern United States, like from like Florida all the way up into like Ontario, I think. So they even live in Canada, which is crazy because most amphibians don't live in Canada. And they are kind of cute if you think about it. I mean, they're not ugly, that's for sure. They're really kind of just an adorable little animal. And some people think salamanders are lizards. That is completely false. But salamanders are amphibians, and amphibians are actually completely different from reptiles. Reptiles have hard, scaly skin, whereas salamanders have soft, moist skin. And oh my goodness, he is really actually quite active. Most of the time they kind of just curl up, but this guy, he is kind of walking about quite a bit. And we can see his little head there. He's super cute. And these salamanders, actually, this is the mating season right now. It's, I think, July. And June and July is usually when they start mating. And basically, yeah, these salamanders, they can literally be found, like, all over the eastern United States. So if you live in the eastern United States, you can go out and look under, like, a rock or a log, and there's actually a pretty good chance for you to actually find one of these. Now, they're obviously completely safe to handle, and like I said, they are amphibians, so you do have to be kind of gentle with them because their skin is moist, and also amphibians, they need water to live. So what you want to do is, if you catch a salamander, I'm just going to show you really quick how to put them back. You never want to go like this. You never want to put them down and then put the rock over it, because most of the time that will smush them and they'll die, obviously. So what you want to do is we're going to put them right next to the side, and there wants to be a little hole, and he can just crawl back into his little hole there. See, there he goes. His little tail. I'm going to go out to a vernal pool. So the next day I went out to a vernal pool, and I found just as many amphibians out there. And if you don't know what a vernal pool is, it's basically a body of water that can only be accessible during spring and summer. Right here. Got him. Alright, we got our first newt. And it's a female. I'm gonna bring her up. Oh, the flies are getting crazy. But here is an eastern red-spotted newt. And you can see why they're called eastern red-spotted newts. Oh, freaking flies. They have these red spots on their back. And this one is a female, you can tell, because she has sort of this drabbish brown-gray coloration. And if you look at the tail, oh my gosh, I just dropped her almost. Look at the tail on this. It's almost like a fin, because that's how they sort of swim through the water. And her tail is perfect for streamlining swimming right through the water. And the fact of the matter is that most of the time of these newts' lives, they are in the water. They are usually going to be in the water hunting for water bugs, trying to stay out of cover from diving beetles that might try to eat them, or even frogs. But these newts are aquatic, pretty much. You rarely ever see newts on land. Just gonna put her back over. There she goes, back into the water. Frog under here. It's a good frog. These are pretty much the most common species, along with bullfrogs, that you're going to find out here in New England. And he's sort of like a little bullfrog, if you want to think of it like that. They are pretty abundant out here. This is probably like the third one I've seen. The first one I caught, though, here today. But yeah, just take a look at him. If you see these discs, those are actually his ears, or her ears, I don't know what gender this is. And this frog, they use their, oh, there he goes. He's okay, he's gonna jump around, and he'll probably go back in the water. So the frog did eventually jump back into the water, and it was super fun to come out here in New Hampshire and catch and film some of these amphibians. All of these amphibians are really, really cool and really fun, and I'm just really glad I got to film them.